Hi, my name is Father Charlie Bouchard, and I'm here to offer you a word of hope on the readings for Tuesday, October 1st. On October 1st, we celebrate the feast of St. Theresa of Lisieux, who is known to most Americans as the Little Flower of Jesus. But the first reading that's assigned for this day wouldn't give us any indication of that. It's a reading from the book of Job, in which Job is really at one of his low points. He is so depressed and so discouraged that he asks, why was I even born? Why didn't I just perish from the earth? There seems to be nothing or no purpose for me here. And Job might have had a good reason to complain, but his story and his complaint is pretty much the complete opposite of what we find in the life of St. Theresa of Lisieux. It's not to say that she had an entirely easy life. She was born into a good family, but her mother died when she was only 4 years old. When she went to school, because she was a little peculiar, as saints sometimes tend to be, the other kids made fun of her and bullied her. And then she suffered from a lot of illnesses, both physical and, it seems, possibly psychosomatic, maybe as a result of that bullying and of grief over the loss of her mother. But despite that, Theresa had an early desire to join the Carmel in France, to become a Carmelite nun. And she persisted in trying to do that, even though they discouraged her and said, no, you're too young for this. But finally she got permission to do that at the age of about 15. And she stayed in that convent her entire life. She only lived to be 24 when she died of tuberculosis, but she never left the convent, having once joined. And we can look at her life and we can say she's an incredible model of persistence, of faith, and of grace. She is called the Little Flower, or simply Little Theresa in other parts of the world, because of her theory of the little way. In other words, she didn't set out to try to do great things or to conquer the world. She set out simply to do little, simple things with great love and care. Now, that may be very different from some of the other saints who became missionaries and who, traveled to all parts of the world. But Theresa became one of the most famous saints after her death in the entire Catholic Church. She drew the attention and the devotion of millions and millions of Catholics precisely because of that little way and how she stood up to the suffering in her own life and found grace in it. Bishop Robert Barron says that Theresa's life was simply an example of an invasion of grace, that God's grace overtook her life and enabled her to live this little way in great service to her sisters and setting an example for us. All of us, like Job, get discouraged at times and we feel beset by our troubles, but that's just the moment when we might want to recall the story of little Theresa and her little way and ask God's grace to invade our lives as well.